Hera, the queen of the gods, the goddess of marriage. Whereas Greek mythology is concerned, there are stacks upon stacks of different gods and goddesses whose stories are well known, famous, and retold across the world. Of those, you might have heard of those such as Hades, Zeus, Poseidon, Persephone, or even more, but one you might not have heard as much on is Hera. Labeled as the queen of the gods and the goddess of marriage by UEN Digital Press, Hera is born to Rhea and Cronus, the rulers of the Titans, and is one of 6 children. Of these children, her siblings included Hestia, Demeter, Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus, the latter of which she would eventually come to marry. Now, though Hera had a lot of family, she actually had a pretty rough beginning, whenever her father Cronus, in fear of being dethroned by his children, decided to swallow them all whole. Now, as they grew up in his father's stomach, Zeus was actually born way further out. But when he was born, he actually saved Hera and their siblings from their father by forcing him to regurgitate them. Hera, now dubbed Queen of the Gods, Goddess of Marriage, and the now new wife of Zeus, must go through the one thing that will eventually be the fuel to her reputation and the ruin of it: her husband's infidelity. Now, know that Hera's reputation did not stem from a place of meaningless rage, but rather it mostly came from revenge due to Zeus's actions. Zeus, who had taken many affairs, actually forced Hera into this ball of rage, and Hera, according to History Cooperative, was known to be feared for this jealous and vengeful nature. Now, while this is true, as it was stated, this all came from Zeus's actions first and Hera's reaction to them. And while it was Zeus's infidelity that did fuel Hera's reputation and her anger, she actually never really took out her anger on Zeus. Instead, she took all of her anger over his infidelity and wrongfully aimed it towards the women and children involved. For instance, the story of Alcmene and Hercules. According to worldhistory.org, as the story goes, Alcmene gives birth to Hercules, who is the son of Zeus. And Hera, overcome with rage at once again having her husband do this act of infidelity and impregnate another woman, actually delays Hercules' birth and sends 2 snakes after him as an infant to kill him and delay his throne. But Hercules, having defeated the 2 snakes, is instead forced to suffer many more years at the hands of Hera's anger and wrath in a multitude of different ways. Another instance where Hera wrongfully directed her anger towards the women and children happened with the story of Leto. Now, Leto, who was one of Zeus's many affairs, was banned from giving birth on any land. And not only was she banned from giving birth on land in general, but Hera actually said that any land that gave her refuge and let her give birth on that land would be cursed. So after many months of wandering, I actually don't know the amount of time, Leto was finally given refuge by Dolores, I think, and was able to give birth to Apollo and Artemis. But she found refuge, but it still had to have labor for 9 months after this. In the end, though Hera was known as the Queen of the Gods, the Goddess of Marriage, and Zeus's wife, it was actually ironic because her own marriage was what fueled her reputation and her bad reputation in the end.